This is WT for TST, and this evening we're honoured to be joined by Coach Manny Robles. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, mate. I'm enjoying life.
Well, I say it's evening. Actually, it's morning where you are, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How's the California sunshine?
It's beautiful. Every day is a good day. Like Ice Cube says that today was a good day. Every day is a good day in Cali.
Well, listen, it's freezing here. Anyway, we'll crack on with this, mate. So first time on TST, what we like to do is go through kind of what makes you, really. So your childhood, your upbringing, and ultimately how you got into boxing, and then up to current times. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Shoot, let's get started.
So you started in, you were born in Mexico. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. I was born in Mexico. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, which is actually where Canelo's from. Canelo's from the same city I am, and it's a great, it's a good city. A lot of boxing tradition there, and now I'm here in the good old US of A.
So when did you? Because you came to the US young, yeah? Was it with your dad?
I was very young. I was only 6 years old. So my parents brought me here at a very early age. I wasn't. I was brought here by them, by mom and dad, and been here ever since. It's been quite some time.
A long time. What was school like for you? So like coming from Mexico and then to the US, did you settle at school okay? Was it hard?
No, it was definitely hard. It was definitely difficult. Just like every person that comes to America, every immigrant that comes to the USA in search of a better life, searching in search of the American dream, if you will, with my mom and dad and my siblings, and we went through a lot. Definitely went through a lot. It was definitely difficult, especially at that age. You're going to school, you don't speak the language, and you're looked as an outsider, and it's difficult, but here we are today. My family was always very united, and we were always together, and we fought through it together. We were and now we're here.
So your dad got you into boxing, yeah?
Yeah, my dad introduced me to boxing. My dad was a former amateur professional fighter himself. He took me to the boxing gym for the first time at a very early age. I must have been about 9 years old, 9, 10. And he took me to a gym in my neighborhood, my local neighborhood, which was the Azteca Boxing Club. And it's a very, very popular gym in Southern California. A lot of great champions have been through this gym, including Julio Cesar Chavez. And I guess you can say, and I ended up at the right gym, in the right place. And my dad took me to the gym for the first time, and never looked back ever since.
So how did you get? So your dad took you to the gym and stuff. So when did you actually start boxing? Because you had a good amateur career, didn't you?
I had a decent amateur career. Had quite a few fights as an amateur. My dad, my dad was still training himself. He was still involved in boxing himself. So I was young, and signed me up to the gym, and pretty much he was pretty much my coach. I had quite a few amateur fights. I probably had about 60 something amateurs, where eventually I became a professional fighter, had a handful of professional fights myself. My dad, being a coach, eventually took me under his wing, and I also became his assistant coach. Between having to go to work and making ends meet, I was able to go to the gym and work with my dad, and where my dad eventually passed away, but I took on the responsibility. I took on the name, and that my dad was able to build, because he was actually a pretty popular boxing coach himself at the time. He had his share of world champions, You know, he had a name in the boxing industry. And once my dad passed away, it was difficult for me because obviously I lost my best friend, I lost my father. But then I had to go and do it on my own, you know, start from scratch and build what I have today, you know, to continue the legacy that my dad left behind. And you know, it's a privilege, it's an honor to be here today and to continue to do what you know, my dad passed the torch on to me, and continue to do what he did, and continue to build champions, build men of character, responsibility, which is, I believe, is the most important thing. And it's a privilege, it's an honor.
Because he was your inspiration, wasn't he?
Most definitely. My dad was, again, my dad was my best friend. And so when I lost my dad, I felt like the world came down on me, you know, because I had no one to turn to, really. I mean, he was, again, you know, he was that one person that you always look for advice outside of boxing, of course, as a father. And, you know, when I lost him, it meant a great deal. I lost everything, but obviously I have my family, my son, which allowed me to get back into through my son, just like my dad did through me. I did pretty much the same thing with my son. Took him to the gym for the first time and introduced him to boxing, and he became a much better boxer than I ever was. And you know, that's what you aim for, right? You aim for your family, your kids, and your children's children to eventually become and do much better than you ever did.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I think that's part of your role, isn't it? As a father, a mentor. We'll go into that in a bit. But what when you just rewind a little bit, what were you, when you were making ends meet? What were you doing on the side of boxing?
Oh man, I held. Well, look, there's you look. I mean, I don't know if we were gonna have enough time to tell you my story, but you know, but it was you know, it was hard. It was definitely hard coming from Mexico, being an immigrant, not having a green card, not being able to go to school the way I wanted to, you know, after high school, I wanted to go to college, and that was difficult for me because I had to work, you know, and I held different jobs, different odd jobs. I did everything from construction to being a dishwasher to gardener, you name it. I held different jobs, and just to make ends meet, to help my parents at one point, and then eventually I got married and I had my own family to take care of. So it was never easy. It was always different. It was definitely difficult, but not impossible. You know, I walked my life with faith in God, faith in my family, faith in myself, which allowed me to wake up every morning and go get it. You know, go get that bread. And because I understood my responsibilities, but it wasn't easy. It was difficult coming up. And eventually, thank God, I became a resident. I became a resident of the United States, and eventually became a citizen. Now I am an American citizen. I am a Mexican American, and I'm proud to say that. And today's a special day. Today, you know, with the elections here in the United States and being able to vote is something very significant to me. And at the same time, I transmit that to my kids and let them know how fortunate they are and how lucky they are to be born in this country and to have everything that they have, knowing where I come from and the struggles and whatnot that every single one of us as immigrants have to endure and have to go through. But like I said, it's been a roller coaster ride, a lot of ups and downs throughout life. But I count my blessings, and I'm very fortunate to be here today. I'm very fortunate to do what I do, and which is, you know, being a boxing coach. It's given me everything. You know, it's allowed me to have the life I have, and to travel the world and to meet a lot of interesting people throughout the world. And thanks to boxing, it's just I'm blessed. I'm blessed to you know, have my gym with my boxers and my stable, it hasn't come easy, but nothing, I always tell my boxers, I always tell my kids that good things in life don't come easy. You got to work for them. Nobody's going to give you anything. Nobody's going to hand you anything. You got to go get it. You got to make it happen. You got to put in the work. You have to have faith. You have to believe that there are better things in life.
So I read an article the other day, actually, I'll read it word for word this little bit. It says, you were described as being very loyal and you have a certain way with the fighters. Do you think that's about the relationships that you create with them? Because you feel, you've talked a lot about family, you talk a lot about, it's all almost mentorship, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Look, I can't control the way other people feel. I can't control that. The only person I can control is me. I am the type of person that's very loyal. I've been with my wife for 27 years. That's got to tell you something. And my best friend, my wife, and I have a beautiful family, and I try to lead by example, and that goes at the gym as well with my boxers. And I can't control what other people may how other people feel or think, but I can control me. And I choose to be loyal. I choose to have integrity. I choose to be a good person, despite of the ups and downs and experiences that you might go through at times. And sometimes it isn't always, it isn't always good. It isn't always positive. And a lot of people might tend to change or might tend to see things differently when they fail or when things don't happen to go their way. But I choose to remain the person that I am. I choose to again choose to have that integrity and to not change despite of the situation or despite of the negative experiences that we might go through at times.
Listen, that's great. Not everybody can do that, so I think that's fantastic. Right, talk to us, if you can. Take us back to that night. The night I'm talking about, the night where the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion is crowned. Take us back to Madison Square Garden. What was that like, the build up to that night?
It's like no other feeling in the world, man. It's like when my Dodgers won the World Series a couple of weeks back. That's how, that's, or my Lakers. But it's definitely, it was definitely a special moment. It's an unbelievable moment. I have nothing but Anthony Joshua. He's a great fighter. He's one of my favorite boxers. And even then, before we fought him, I've been following his career, and up until the point when we fought him, I had nothing but the utmost respect for Joshua. He carries himself very well. He carries himself like a true champion in and outside the ring, and I really admire that from him. But we had a fight, Anthony Joshua, and with Andy Ruiz, I prepared him to the best of my ability. Mentally, physically, he was prepared. He was ready, and we shocked the world that night. Special moment for all of us. I was just watching a video last night when we won the world title. How we were screaming and jumping up and down for joy. It's just oh man, it's an incredible moment, something I will never forget. And it's a special moment because right there at that particular moment in time, you get a flashback of everything that you had to go through in life, all the ups and downs, and the negative, the positive, the losing, having my father, losing my father. He's the first one that came to my mind, actually, because I was celebrating that moment with my dad, because I knew I knew I had my dad by my side that night. And that's why I got so emotional during that time after, with the interviews and everything, because I couldn't stop thinking about my pops, and knowing that he was right there with me celebrating that very special moment.
And how proud he would have been of you.
Man, he would have been right there in that corner with me,
So, I mean, a lot happened then after that, and then you went into the second fight. I get. I mean, after the second fight, you and Andy were both critical about his preparations. Is that ultimately
Definitely.
why you chose to go separate ways, or?
No, well, it was. I seen it coming. I seen it coming. During the second camp, things weren't really going the way I wanted them to go. Uh, um, he was in. We all have to. I have to hold myself accountable, and and whatever I did wrong, if I did, I take the blame. And I think every single one of us has to hold themselves accountable, including Andy and the management and so forth and so on, because we all failed. We win as one and we all lose as one. That's what having integrity means. It's like being able to say, if I failed, then let me take the blame. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things that went wrong during that camp that I try to change, that I try to fix. But Andy was, you know, had a had a had a different plan, and I couldn't help that. I tried. I did everything I could to convince him to let them know, hey, if you win this second fight, let me tell you, you can run for president of Mexico if you want, and I'm sure you'll win. But that wasn't the case. It's very unfortunate, and it tells you it's a great story. I think Andy Ruiz's story is very interesting because it tells you two things. It tells you and it teaches us to there's no impossible. Anything in life you can, if you work hard, if you're dedicated, if you put all your effort and discipline and hard work into your dreams, you can achieve them. But it also tells you that once you get to the top, and everything can be easily lost. You know, with that comes fame and money and new friends and a lot of new friends
That were never there before.
that were never there before. Even including family members that try to jump on the bandwagon and make you lose track, make you lose focus. But it's unfortunate how people. They're only there when you're winning, but the moment shit hits the fan, everybody's gone. And money doesn't make you. And that's one thing that people, kids, boxers out there have to understand. Money doesn't make you, man. What makes you is what you have in here in your heart, the way you carry yourself, the way you respect other people, the way you maintain that discipline and integrity and staying humble. And that's why I admire Anthony Joshua so much, because he's the same person. Before, even when he lost, he took the defeat like a man. Hey, I lost and that's it. I take it like a man. And despite of what people might say or think, and I'm sure Anthony Joshua experienced the same thing when he lost. The people he got to know who his real friends were, and the people that really supported him were. And you can only learn that when you find yourself in defeat. That's I always tend to say that you learn more from your defeats than you do from your wins, and that's definitely a fact.
And then for you, I guess when you lose something that you had with Andy, so you had a special connection with Andy, you worked with him
Yeah.
day in, you were his mentor type thing, you were almost a father figure probably at times as well. How does that feel then when that's there anymore?
It's definitely it's definitely something that saddens me, because you feel like you have a good connection. You feel like you're one family, you're one team. Uh, um, and then when a situation such as this one happens, I can't sit here and tell you that it doesn't hurt. Of course it does. I'm human. And especially when you give yourself, when you give so much of yourself into a fighter. You're not just this coach. You become friends. You're part of the struggle. you know you're doing this together. And then when after, let me tell you, when we won the fight, when we beat Joshua and we became a world champion, his father told me, "We're sticking with you to the end, Manny. That we're gonna be with you up until the very end." Okay, I think I've heard that before. It wasn't the first time I've heard that, And then when shit hits the fan and you lose, you know, things tend to change. You don't feel the same way anymore, and it's just sad because it tells you a lot about a person, first of all, and but it doesn't strike me. It doesn't come to me as a surprise because it's not the first time I hear it. So when it happened, I was ready for it. Even before the fight, I was getting ready. I was getting ready for the worst. And especially in boxing, you always tend to hope for the best but prepare for the worst.
It's a good strategy, mate. Right, let's go on to your current stable. Let's talk about Charles Martin because he's had a bit of a resurgence under you. He's now ranked second in the IBF and he wants his title back, I believe. What's next for him?
He's I just talked to his manager earlier this week, and we're waiting to hear back on a fight date. It might be a big one, might be a good one, but we're waiting for confirmation. I can't really say what that's all about, but it's definitely interesting.
Feels like he's gained his confidence back. You know what?
Yeah,
before his fight with Joshua, he was definitely from a UK point of view, he was very mouthy, very confident, and then afterwards maybe not so much. And now it seems to be that what I've seen is he's getting the confidence back.
Well, yeah, I always try to I've been with Charles Martin for probably a couple of years now. I've been working together for a couple of years, and we had a few fights together. Things have been going well. As you said, he's ranked number 2 in the world right now in the IBF. He's pretty much the mandatory after this Joshua's next fight. So we're working on possibly getting a rematch with Joshua, but there are other options, and we're just waiting for confirmation. As I said, I believe Charles Martin is a different fighter now. He has a different mentality. What I try to transmit to my fighters is obviously hard work, but also to stay humble, stay grounded, because you just never know where you're going to end up. The best thing to do is to work hard and stay ready and be prepared.
Your son, Manny Robles III. He's doing well, isn't he? Apart obviously, the Kansu fight was a tough fight, but what's next for him?
Well, he, as you said, it was pretty much a year ago that he fought for the world title. Hasn't fought since then. This whole COVID situation hasn't been very helpful for anybody at any level, and that includes boxing. But we're hanging in there. I mean, he's got a family now. Has his you there?
Yeah. All good.
Sorry about that. Yeah, he has his family now. Has his wife, has his daughter. I'm a grandpa now, so
he's turned into a man.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the fruits of being a grandfather. I got 2 beautiful granddaughters. My daughter also had a baby, so it's just it's great. I'm loving life right now. I'm really enjoying them, and it's a beautiful feeling, and I think that's the most important thing in life is family, unity, and having that is it's remarkable.
When you were talking there, that's the first time your face lit up when you started talking about your grandkids.
I'm a grandpa now.
Yeah. Right, mate. Yeah, no, you look too good to be a grandpa. You look too young. Right, so that's us in terms of the interview as such. But we always finish with a few questions from the followers and the viewers, if you don't mind.
No problem.
So the first one is Ryan. Ryan wants to know what's your opinion on Wilder's recent comments. Have you seen them?
Yes, I did, and I don't think they're very positive. Sometimes you just need to keep that to yourself, and not, just look. I know that losing hurts. It's never easy, But sometimes you just got to take it like a man and just learn to accept that the better man won that night, and that's it, and move on.
Yeah. I don't know what else I can say on that, mate.
Very simple.
Tom wants to know if you could coach any boxer from the past or history, who would that be?
Salvador Sanchez.
Why?
One of the best. To me, the best boxing. To me, the best Mexican boxer of all time was Salvador Sanchez. He lost Salvador Sanchez at a very early age. I believe he was 23 years old when he passed away in a car accident. But he was definitely the top boxer, Mexican boxer at the time, and one of the top boxers in the world. Had defeated Wilfredo Gomez, and I would have done anything to be in that corner, even as a water boy, a bucket boy, you name it. But just to be in that corner that night was a remarkable night when he defeated Wilfredo Gomez.
All right, this one's a good one. I want to know the answer to this one. So Reggie wants to know. I've seen you on social media or on your social media in a Lakers top and a Dodgers one. Which do you prefer, basketball or baseball?
I gotta tell you, man. I gotta go with my Dodgers, man. I gotta go with baseball. Fernando Valenzuela. Some people may not know who he is, but he was a Mexican pitcher that played for the Dodgers back in the 1980s. He won a World Series with the Dodgers in 1981, and ever since then, I became a big Dodger fan. My dad used to take me to the ballpark to watch the Dodgers and watch Fernando Valenzuela pitch back in the 80s, and so that I again, when the Dodgers won, thinking about my dad and the special moments when we used to go to the ballpark and watch my Dodgers and watch Valenzuela pitch. So I got to go with the Dodgers, but there's a special love there for my Lakers and my Dodgers. I love Cali like I love my Dodgers and my Lakers, as I always say.
Right, the last question, we always finish with this one. A little story. It started with a girl called Emma who kept messaging me all the time to ask people questions that are coming on, and it always revolved around chocolate or puddings. We've now blocked her because she keeps messaging all the time, but we're going to use her question still. So, Manny, what are your top 3 chocolate bars?
Chocolate bars. There's actually a chocolate bar from Mexico that's called Carlos Quinto. So that's probably at the top of my list. Carlos Quinto.
What is that? What is it? What is it? What is it? Peanuts or what? What type of chocolate?
It's just it's just it's just a regular chocolate bar, but with peanuts, and just like a Snickers bar. So second will probably be a Snickers bar, and third will probably be Twix, in that order.
I like a Twix. Yeah, Twix. That's a good one, mate. Manny, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Anything else that you've got to say to the viewers?
No, nothing. Just for the fans out there to continue supporting the beautiful sport of boxing. And we couldn't do this without you, without the fans. And I got a great deal of respect for the British fans, man. You guys are hardcore boxing fans. You really support your fighters, and that's a beautiful thing to see. So continue that.
Thanks a lot, Manny. Speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Cheers.